well. Right, let's move on to what is happening within NASA right now. And looking at yesterday's Sunday Nation, Raila Odinga dilemma, and we have also as well the front page of the Daily Nation today, where there are bugbears and fears about this particular oath. So, and if we may just skim through the Daily Nation today, we can see on all of the pages there that still there is also no unison front as far as this particular oath is concerned.
Of the swearing in?
Of the swearing in. They say the seasoned politicians like you, Farah, right now, you're of course pushing for this, but the young turks are not really for this. And this also came to bear.
For the swearing in?
Yeah, for the swearing in. This came to bear also when, you know, the first slot for the first material day that was given for the swearing in was postponed as well, because people are having bugbears and fear of this.
No. You know, as far as I'm concerned myself, and I've said this many times, I am somebody who has a legal background, and I would like to uphold the law. I have not been part of the process of the agreement that finally came in to push for that, for the swearing in. I applauded Raila last time when he said no, he's not going to be sworn in, because I think that's in my opinion. We have to uphold the law one way or the other. You say the law is on us. It has its own things. It might not be very fair, and it has not been fair to NASA this time. But I clearly, personally, would hesitate to endorse a swearing in, because that's a recipe for chaos. Not that there are no very strong grounds for people to express certain outrage or demonstrate outrages, but the mere fact that the same legal structure that we applauded one time was the one again for very valid reasons, by the way, let me tell you, for very valid reasons, had upheld this election and sworn in the president as the duly elected president of the country, with all our reservations about basically how the process itself was conducted. Mm-hmm. I think we need to sit back and try and use other methods to try and force the kind of changes and the reforms that we need to force in this country. But swearing in of another president, in my opinion, is not a solution.
Is it a solution?
I have my issues with that.
Very
because
briefly.
For very good reasons. Like I've told you, the law is the law. It could be bad, say the law is on us, but it's the law as long as it is the law, as long as it's not amended or repealed in that case. But then I also have a very strong commitment that there has to be certain changes. There has to be certain powerful reforms, so that we do not have any more electoral impunity in the country.
Thank you. Let's say from Mudhomi Njuki, and this is on page 4 of the Daily Nation, where we are talking about also the unity of the NASA coalition, where Mudavadi's party is mulling over a divorce with coalition. That is a divorce with, or divorce with the scare quotes, with coalition in post-duels. And it says the National Super Alliance faces a unity test following protest of coalition partners Amani National Congress over the sharing of parliamentary leadership slots. This is, of course, with the leadership slots. This has not been bearing with this, but elsewhere in the paper also, they are torn between the young men and the seasoned politicians. Let's hear from you, Mheshimiwa.
Debarl, I was not going to discuss this, but on the tone of my friend Farah, I think I was very impressed, because we seem to be in consensus, in an agreement as Kenyans, that we are tired of these shenanigans, of unending political gimmicks. And on the face of things, I think we have one person really who needs counseling, and that is Honorable Raila Odinga. I think he has turned himself into a comedian. It's only that he has picked the wrong theater and the wrong time to be able to do some of those theatric moves that he wants to display to his fans. Because really, there's no difference between Raila saying he'll swear himself in and some boys somewhere in the village who want to act a play on treason. Because what is the legal backup for saying that I'll get sworn in as people's president. Where do we have people's president in which constitution as per se? Because Article 141 of the Constitution lays down all the procedures that are normally used in swearing in a president-elect. As far as we're concerned, Raila is not a president-elect, so you'll be getting sworn in as who. Which means that you'll be looking for an entry into causing more chaos in this country. And you look at the day you speak, the 12th of December is not an ordinary day. That's a day when patriotic Kenyans normally remember the day we achieved our independence, and therefore it's a very important day for Kenyans. What is seen to tell, what is the message to Kenyans? That this day that we got independence is not really important, it is aesthetic that are important in this case.
Thank you.
I think it's time to quit and say, sometimes you can't have it all and you live to fight another day, as it is.
All right, let's hear from Professor Kagwanja. First of all, you're taking a special umbrage with the media, especially our headline now on the Raila Odinga dilemma as well, in a Sunday's Sunday Nation's splash.
I think I have great misgivings about the role of media in popularizing, debates that are basically urging, goading Kenyans to violate the Constitution or to be unlawful. Mm-hmm. Because a responsible media policy would not put Raila Odinga dilemma as a headline in a country, in the foremost paper, which is the Sunday Nation, which is the Sunday Nation. I found that I was reading yesterday. I know I am part of the opinion people in the nation, but I took exception with the headline. I'm not that I want to read it to tell what headlines media should have, but there is something called responsibility, national responsibility, and I think media need to begin taking its responsibility seriously in terms of shaping the thinking and the direction to which Kenyans are going to become more cohesive, more united. Let me say. But
did you read the blow-by-blow account of it to get what the headline is all about?
Sure, I did, and I'm saying it is a choice of the topic. I don't mind this being somewhere inside, because if it's an issue raised, it is. But is this the biggest issue of the week in the country? Is this the biggest story that all Kenyans need to be concerned about? That's the question I was asking.
But Professor, you cannot deny the fact that, of course, this has also largely affected the economy of this country. Many facets of the country have been affected with the towing and froing of the two political divides.
But it's part of that. Nation need money to pay its workers. Why would you want to highlight issues that divide the nation, that undermines the economy, that have no legal basis, as the former speaker have mentioned here? But let me come to the point about what I think about it. That's enough for the media. You can take it, you can ignore it, but I'm saying at a certain point, you're becoming part of the problem, not part of the solution. That's what I'm saying. In regard to what is the swearing in, the procedure, the Kenyan Constitution, which Honorable Raila Odinga led us into effecting, he was the foremost reader. Nobody can question that. He was the foremost reader in the effecting of this new constitution. I personally worked under him for 3 good months and took cue and orders from him on how we are going to run the campaign for this new constitution. And I have never seen that robust support of a document. I saw that, and you could look at it in his eyes and see this is a person who sincerely and genuinely supports this particular process. That comes to me as a contradiction now that there is no change of the constitution by the current government. There is no change of the political order, and then you turn around and disregard the constitution as far as the issue of swearing in is concerned. It is treasonous according to this constitution. It is treasonous. It is inviting public unrest, because definitely the law enforcement authorities will not stand by and see that being done. And the moment that is done, then you are going to accuse the security forces of excessive force. Now, the other thing is you base it, it's a copycat policy. BCG has done it in Uganda. With what consequences? conflict and, of course, tarnishing the name of Uganda as a country where authoritarianism is coming back. Let me finish.
Just finish because we're stuck for time. Just let him finish. Just finish. We're stuck for time.
Let me finish. Yeah, so it's nothing new, and we know the consequence of that if you go by the case of BCJ. The other thing you are doing is that you are disrespecting our national heritage. Why would you want to have it done at the same day we are celebrating our most solemn national day? It is basically the utter disrespect of our nationhood.
Thank you.
And our, as a country.
Let's hear from Shem as we will get your closing statements. 30 seconds, we're stuck for time.
On the issue of being sworn, obviously, I don't know what local standard that NASA would have to swear in a president of whatever, People's Assembly or whatever. And I had also issue when NASA, during the swearing in of the president, decided to have the Jacaranda purported prayers with a lot of empathy to the bereaved families. My question was, which remains unanswered, did NASA have to do it on that day? I think there was no justification. But having said that, I'll also be concerned about sweeping under the carpet the concerns, because the NASA raises the issue of legitimacy. Do they recognize that the due process of electing the president were followed? But having said that, I would have concern that NASA did two errors. One, they decided to boycott the elections, and two, the only place where they would have challenged the legitimacy was in court, which they didn't do. But I'm also concerned about people in government who have a sense of entitlement. I see ministers very arrogantly talking about forgetting about how does the other Kenya feel. I talked to a number of Kenyans on both sides. Those on the NASA side are extremely pained with a lot of justification in terms of in exclusion, in inequalities, and these have to be addressed. But the way forward is to have a national conversation.
Right, thank you. I'll just give you, Shakeel Shabbir, 30 seconds to close because we're stuck for time, just in closing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Firstly, I'd like to say that I'm an independent member of parliament. So I speak as an independent. But there's one thing that you cannot get away from. The most influential politician declared at this moment in time by CNN and Africa is Raila Odinga. He's the most influential in Africa, and it was declared. So you cannot wish him away. My brother here, the governor, calling him a joker, this is what actually makes other people upset. Because I come from Kisumu. And Kisumu, why would you want to call our leader and a leader of international repute? As I said, these are the problems that we are occurring. The issue of swearing in, I want to leave it. I am surprised my brother Farah Maalim has changed his tune from what I was listening to some time back at Akwa. But I suppose that's the way politicians are, that's the way we are. But I'd like to just finish with one thing, please.
Your 30 seconds are over.
There's my 30 seconds over, but I think please, if you could just give me that bearing. I want to say this. Members of parliament and whatever, we cannot just jump across here and there. I want to today say, whether I'm an independent or not, I was brought into this foray by Raila Odinga.
Thank you.
And I will keep that faith. And I will not allow people to just make a joke out of somebody who is an international leader.
All right, let's leave it at that. This is a developing story, Farah. We are stuck for time. My director, she's on my case. We have to wind up on this.
Just qualify because one thing is I have never said in Okoa, Kenya.
We have to wind up at that.
No. This is very important. I have to say, I have never said that I support swearing in. No, I never said that. But then the other bit is that what I'm saying is that I agree entirely with what he says. We will intensify economic boycott. This is all in the Constitution. Public resistance and other methods at our disposal. Raila initially said he is not going to go for swearing in because I understand the magnitude of that. But there are areas, there are things that can be done. And the fact is that, like Shabbir has said, I take exception. Every time I see a Jubilee person, an MP, a governor, calling names, somebody who was our prime minister.
Thank you.
For God's sake, we have to be ashamed of such things. We can talk about the ideas themselves and debate on the ideas back and forth. But to call names, I would never call a name any Kenyan leader. They're all respected. And that's basically some of the things that are dividing the country the way it's dividing it.
Thank you very much.
What I'm saying is that the problems are there, massive problems are there, I am sure there is going to be discussions on how to deal with that, how to eliminate electoral impunity in this country. Those of you who think 12th December belong only to a section of Kenyans, no. Jaramogi Odinga had
Farah,
more to do with
I'm sorry
that
to butt in right now.
independence
We
than
have to
anybody
wind
else.
up. Thank you very much. I think this is a developing story. 12th is just a week away, so we shall be drilling deeper on this as well. I'll be remiss, of course, if I mention that, if I don't mention that, yeah, we had to cover about the cabinet, but we'll do that tomorrow on People and Politics as well, as their meeting also is today. Thank you very much for your valued company. You've been watching This Is a Point.